It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome to a time for one of our favorite segments on the show. It is So Now What, where we invited in an expert lawyer, awesome all-round nice guy, and Director of Legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, to talk about pavements this morning. It might seem like...
It sounds like a weird topic.
Yeah, it is a weird topic. Let's get honest here. But it's, I would imagine, in the legal framework, this is quite a tipping point. There are so many kind of issues that can arise. It's that no man's land between the rest of the world and your private property. It's the area that we all share, but doesn't belong to us.
It's one of those topics that you don't realize is important until you start to look a bit further into it.
It's actually a topic.
It's actually a topic.
Well, let's start looking into it and start understanding.
Excuse the pun.
You know what? So what's the deal with the pavement? What kind of vehicles are allowed on a pavement? Things like, if we talk about a motorized scooter, for instance, you know, that's not road legal, but can technically still go on there. And what's the vibe?
So technically, according to the law, you're not allowed any motorized vehicles on the pavement. The pavements are strictly for pedestrians. Now, each city is going to have different bylaws that affect what you can and what you can't do. So some cities are going to allow things like bicycles and skateboards on the pavement, but kind of strictly speaking, pavements are meant for pedestrians.
Okay. And I would imagine there's a safety component involved in that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm unsafe on a skateboard, okay? So not talking about my own personal safety, but skateboards, because I know we're seeing motorized and we've got longboards with kind of, you know, propulsion and all that, but just a basic skateboard. Where should you, is it legal to ride a skateboard on the road?
Okay, so roads are then only going to be for motorized vehicles. So technically, you're not permitted to ride a skateboard on the road, but again, different municipalities may deal with this differently. But as it stands, no, roads are meant for cars. But it's one of these laws that really should be looked at, because if you think about it, our cities would work a lot more effectively if you were only allowed bicycles, scooters and skateboards on the road, and only public transport and cars weren't allowed. It's a crazy idea, but it might mean that it would slow traffic and allow more easy flow of traffic into the city. So it's one of these laws which, you know, maybe does need to be relooked at.
That sounds very first world, though. It sounds like a very first world.
South Africa, we're first world.
We're first world, baby.
No, for sure. I mean, people get around the different means, you know, and I mean, it's hard to think that there's only a road and a pavement, and road for cars and pavements are for
Especially now.
Especially now.
So
You know, there's bicycles, there's
variations,
skateboards, there's electrical scooters and things like that. Is there a difference between your kind of regular pavement and public walk spaces like the promenade we have just down the road?
Okay, so according to the law, there is. You know, the pavement is what's actually called a verge in the law, and that's the area that's next to the road. Whereas a promenade is not really a pavement because it doesn't connect to a road. That doesn't mean promenades it's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
It still is considered public space, and you have to use it according to specific laws. So you're not allowed to cause obstructions on it. You're not allowed to affect people's safety on a promenade. Yeah. And certain cities will then have certain bylaws around their promenade. So the Sea Point Promenade, which is right next to us, you are allowed to ride your skateboard or bicycle on the promenade. The city's allowed that.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw this in just very quickly, because obviously a lot of dogs get walked in this area, and that seems to be quite an area where the law is cracking down quite strongly. Where should you be walking your dog?
Okay, so dogs, there's certain areas. Well, so dogs are allowed in public spaces, and there will be certain areas where you're not allowed dogs, and those will be on certain beaches that you're not allowed them. But to know all these things, all you need to do is check your city's bylaws, and that will...
How do you... Is there a website? How do you
You can check online. Yeah, what we can do is maybe we can post the link. It is relatively complex to check your city's bylaws. But yeah, you can.
We will figure it out. We will find a way, man. Awesome. I don't know if my eyebrows just kept raising there, but I think it's because this affects so many of us.
Absolutely, man.
I can feel the anger, the frustration.
I want to ask a question, but we'll save it for the second segment. Yeah, stick around for that. We're talking about laws around the pavements this morning. So now what?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Righto, so we are back with our main man, Eitan Stern from Legalese.co.za, our legal eagle, as we like to call him as well. He's a brilliant dude. He's got a wealth of knowledge as well. We're talking about the pavements and what's the rules around a pavement. So now what? Exactly. That is what we're asking.
Now what?
Interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Eitan, for joining us this morning. I love it. Such a controversial topic, actually.
Buddy, I refer back to my time living in Melville, where I used to get a parking ticket every day for parking in my own driveway. Okay. I know they were trying to send send a message.
It might not have been your driveway.
Parking on a pavement.
Yeah.
And then maybe this is quite a Cape Town thing, or in congested cities where it's very difficult to find space. What are the rules there?
Okay. So the rule there is that you're not allowed to park on the pavement. You're not even allowed to park partially on the pavement, and you can't park on the pavement outside your house. And the reason why is you don't actually own the pavement outside your house.
Do you own your driveway? Is your driveway part of the
Your
pavement?
driveway is part of your house if your driveway is if it's part of the earth of your house. So where your driveway starts, you'll own, but the pavement outside you won't. So that's public use land, and that's something which obviously it gives us access to houses, but it also gives people access to walking.
Is there?
On it.
And they're probably not bylaws pertaining to that.
plenty bylaws pertaining to that.
Okay, I understand that. I understand maybe I don't own
Here it comes.
part of my
Here it comes.
driveway, but most of my driveway I do own because it is within my building kind of
your
side.
grass.
Yeah.
My grass.
The thing is, with regard to fiber companies, they're coming in, they're installing their lines and whatnot. But so I'm sitting with the issue right now where one fiber company, they came in and they did their thing and they did it neatly, and now a second fiber company came and they literally not only destroy the grass in front of my house, my own grass that I cut, and a part of my pavement as well, which is now, because of the rains we had, there's a nice big hole.
And he reared that grass during
this is
water
now-
restrictions. He
Yeah,
found
you
a
know.
way. He found a way.
And this is now like that. They left it like that now for
Sure.
the past 5 days.
Yeah. What's the
vibe here?
Okay.
I mean, are they even
pavement-
allowed to do that?
So pavements actually have two uses to us. First of all, they allow a place for people to walk, but it also gives the municipality access in order to do maintenance work that they need to do, such as lay cablings. So
But it's my driveway.
Who owns the pavement? The municipalities. They are given the ability to kind of take care of our pavements. And they give people the license in order to dig up the pavements to lay fiber cables. Now, they are legally allowed to do that, but the fiber companies are not supposed to cause a hazard. So they're not supposed to leave a hole open, and they're not supposed to prevent access going into people's homes, and they're certainly not supposed to destroy your property. So if that is happening, you really should be contacting the fiber companies and questioning that, or contacting the municipalities and reporting it.
Right.
All I'm saying is, lawyer, bro. All I'm saying is, someone. Okay.
There's this guy.
In this world of food trucks and people selling stuff on the side of the road,
Yeah.
like hawking on the pavement, are you allowed to do that? Busking on the
Okay.
pavement. This is quite an interesting space because you want to see that kind of commerce and
Exactly.
people out there doing that. But are you allowed to?
So again, it all depends on the city's bylaws and the city's regulations. So different cities will allow busking or food trucks in different areas, and you might need a license in order to do it, or kind of be designated to a certain area. So you're going to find municipalities are quite cognizant that it's someone's trade and that it's great for the culture of the city, so they allow it. But in order to control it, they kind of either require licensing or for you to do it in a certain area.
Does the same apply to like markets and impromptu sales and people like that?
Yeah, markets will need to. Impromptu sales are probably going to be impromptu, but
Yeah.
markets, you're certainly going to need some sort of a license or permission in order to market there. Of course, there's kind of this doesn't like restrict you from doing a garage sale at your house because you're not running a full scale market. So we do need to kind of you don't need to be terrified of these laws and
So
every.
what if you want to
instance.
do a pop-up shop on the pavement?
Again,
Just
you
like
ca-
at random.
Well, I'll leave that to you to decide what to do.
Like a lemonade stand, our director asked. A lemonade stand.
If
is
you
that
do a
allowed?
lemonade stand at your house, I'll definitely come by
Okay.
lemonade.
He's just waiting for the grass to grow back, and then he's going to set it up outside.
Thanks, Eitan.
Sure.
Hopefully we haven't destroyed your credibility with our nonsense completely, but we've actually covered a huge amount of really interesting stuff here. Who would have thought that a pavement special would be this interesting, man? So if you've got an interesting legal conundrum, something that you're asking yourself and leaves you asking the question, so now what? Make sure you share it with us. @Expresso Show is the handle to use, and maybe we'll just cover it in one of our upcoming segments.